Hi! So, there's been some interest around my RiverClan Fireheart AU, so I figured I'd go into some detail about it rather than posting vaguely every few months. It recently had its second birthday as well, so I've been trying to cobble together something cohesive about it, so let's see how that's coming along. Things begin with Bluefur and Oakheart. Bluefur meets with Oakheart more frequently to cope with her sister's death. She's noted to be missing from patrols by Sunstar and Thistleclaw, and when it's time for Sunstar to pick his successor, Thistleclaw is picked before her. When Bluefur challenges him, Sunstar throws it in her face. She's been absent from training Frostpaw, having enlisted Thrushpelt and Rosetail to take her out for training in her stead. She all but abandoned Whitepaw after Snowfur's death and is absent from her nest most nights. He knows she's been absent, but he loves her like his own. He's willing to overlook it, but she is not fit to be deputy of ThunderClan, and certainly not its leader. Bluefur cuts it off with Oakheart, who's shattered by it, but he consents, promising to be there when she needs him. She works to regain her status in her clan, working with Frostpaw to complete her training and repairing her relationships with her old friends. She's banking on the macabre hope that Thistleclaw will be slain in a battle before Sunstar joins StarClan. It's not to be. When Sunstar dies, Bluefur is at his side. He looks at her with gravity, with concern as the last of his lives leave his body. Thistleclaw stands over them and asks if he's dead. Bluefur looks up at him, and a vision flashes before her eyes. Thistleclaw, bathed in blood dripping from his whiskers and pooling around his paws. She wonders if that's the last thing Sunstar saw before he died. Thistleclaw is joined by Spotted Leaf on their trip to the Moonstone, where he receives his 9 lives without any hesitation from StarClan. Things don't change overnight, it's much more gradual. When RiverClan attempts to retake the Sunning Rocks, Thistlestar leads one patrol, his deputy Tigerclaw leads the other, and neither of them will retreat until RiverClan is driven off the rocks. Some of the warriors are really receptive to this, to being the strongest clan in the forest again, and the apprentices, of course, want to be the finest warriors in ThunderClan. Before long, Bluefur finds herself to be viewed unfavorably amongst her fellow warriors by Thistlestar and Tigerclaw. She's not allowed to lead patrols, and Thistlestar makes it known that his eyes and ears are everywhere, and if she breathes a word of dissent about him, he will find out about it, and she will be sorry. During this time, she finds it hard to find comfort in her clanmates, who seem to unite under Thistlestar's rule. She reignites her relationship with Oakheart, who is only too happy to receive her. They see each other frequently across the forest, usually at Four Trees, but they'll occasionally visit at the bridge near the Tall Pines, and go even further south beyond the established territories. Oakheart often offers her a place in RiverClan, promising there is one for her, especially now that Crooked Star is leader and the two of them have been friends since they were apprentices. Bluefur refuses, saying she can't leave her clanmates to crumble under Thistlestar's command. Oakheart tells her that he worries for her too, knowing her history with ThunderClan's new leader. It doesn't take long for Thistlestar to discover that Bluefur has been sneaking off. For some purpose, he doesn't make a move to stop her from doing so, though. He's atop the high rock every morning when she rises late from sleep, and his warrior's eyes are on her during every waking moment. It finally happens, because things that are too good to be true often are. It's Rosetail who brings it to her attention first when they're on patrol together, smugly congratulating her. When Bluefur says she doesn't know what she's congratulating her for, Rosetail only winks. When Bluefur tells her to be transparent, Rosetail says, quietly enough that only Bluefur will hear, that she's pregnant. At first, Bluefur is confused, but Rosetail doesn't notice, asking if Thrushpelt knows yet. Bluefur realizes now that she's been fatigued lately and more hungry than usual. She tells her friend that she hasn't let Thrushpelt know and asks her not to tell. Rosetail looks away, and Bluefur knows that Rosetail had already done as much. When the patrol returns to camp, she pulls Thrushpelt aside. "Rosetail told you," she says, and he nods. "I don't need to know who the father is," he answers. "I'm sure there's a reason I don't already." "I'm sorry," Bluefur emphasizes. "I wish—" Thrushpelt cuts her off. "Me too. But things are the way they are. You can tell the clan I'm the father." Bluefur is surprised by this, looking at Thrushpelt, who had become her closest friend. Her life could have been so much more simple if she could only have fallen in love with him instead. "Thank you, Thrushpelt, honestly." When she announces her pregnancy to the clan, her clanmates react with excitement. Willowpelt and Robinwing are happy to welcome her to the nursery, expecting themselves. Over the heads of all of her clanmates, she sees Thistlestar's silent and weighty gaze, and she feels her body tense, a fear gripping her belly like talons. She visits Spotted Leaf for checkups to her health, as her kits are supposed to arrive during the snows. They get into a conversation where Bluefur says that she's worried about raising her kits in a clan led by Thistlestar. Spotted Leaf is flighty about the line of conversation. Bluefur is serious, though. She doesn't want to have her kits in ThunderClan or anywhere in the forest. Spotted Leaf asks if she's thinking about leaving ThunderClan, but Bluefur refuses, stating that she needs to protect her clanmates from Thistlestar's addiction to bloodshed. Spotted Leaf hesitates, and Thistlestar pushes into the medicine den. "I'm sorry, I'm not interrupting anything, am I?" he asks rhetorically. "No," Bluefur answers, looking up at him flatly. Thistlestar tilts his head. "I noticed that I haven't spoken to you since the announcement. I just wanted to say what excellent warriors I think you'll bring to ThunderClan." His words are kind, but his voice is steeped in malice, a chilling glint in his eye as he speaks. The statement lingers for a while before he dips his head and withdraws from the medicine den. Bluefur looks back to Spotted Leaf, who, with her head bowed in sorrow, nods. With the snow thick on the ground, Bluefur withdraws from the nursery when her pains begin and creeps into the medicine den, careful not to disturb the freshly fallen snow. Spotted Leaf has herbs gathered and prepared, and they set out of camp together. Guided by blows of wind, they happen upon a hollow beneath a snow berm, and Bluefur has her kits. There are only two, a silver and white she-kit who dies quickly in the ferocious cold, and a second one, a vibrant ginger Tom who begins to cry as soon as he's able to draw breath. As soon as he starts to mewl, Spotted Leaf gasps. Bluefur looks up at the medicine cat, whose eyes are wide and distant as she stares at the little ginger Tom, her mouth moving and forming words as her pelt bristles. Finally, she finds her voice and murmurs, "Fire will save the forest." The prophecy is a damnation, one that cuts Bluefur to her core. "No!" she snaps. "No, I will not subject my son to this." Spotted Leaf blinks a few times, her ears flattening. "Bluefur! No, I have to. He has to get out of here. Thistlestar, if he ever finds out." After a moment of rest, Bluefur takes her son and walks with him to Two Leg Place, to the only cat she knew she could feasibly turn to. She found Pine Star. Thistlestar, and especially not Tigerclaw, would ever venture so close to Two Leg Place as to find the old ThunderClan leader, who's aged rather gracefully in his domestic life. "Bluefur," he says sadly. "He's Oakheart's son," she says to him. "He can't stay in ThunderClan now that Thistlestar's leader. This is the one thing I will ever ask you to do for me, Pine Star. Please." Pine Star looks down at the ginger kit, nestled against Bluefur's belly, and sighs. "Very well. Jake's mate has recently had a litter. I'm sure their housefolk would accept another." "Thank you, Pine Star." "Does he have a name?" "He doesn't. He's not warrior born, and he will never receive a warrior name. He won't know hunger or strife. He will live his life peacefully as a kitty pet," Bluefur says, though her heart shatters. Pine Star looks at her, dour but understanding as he dips his head to grasp her son by the scruff. He turns and begins deeper into Two Leg Place, and the forest is silent except for the cries of her surviving son and the whipping of the wind. Her vision blurs as the snows begin to fall thicker. She rejoins Spotted Leaf where she'd kidded. Together they return to camp with the body of her daughter. ThunderClan is horrified on her behalf, asking how it happened. Bluefur can't hear them, though, dumb with grief. Spotted Leaf spins a story for the both of them while Bluefur huddles around her daughter, mourning that she'd never know her son either. Thrushpelt and Rosetail join her vigil, as well as Lionheart, Frostfur, and Redtail. There's a lot more stuff I want to explore, but I don't want to make a half-hour-long video going over all of my fan edits of Warrior Cats The Prophecy Begins. I have a full-time job. But this just kind of opened with the thought experiment of, what if different POV clan, and then it was, well, why wouldn't Rusty have been able to join ThunderClan, which led to Thistleclaw becoming leader over Bluestar, and just the whole, what kind of effect would that have on ThunderClan as a whole, and then what effect would all that have on the entire forest. So there's stuff that I hope to explore further, but for now, I have a couple PMVs, and I guess you could call them AMVs in the works, so you can look forward to that. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.